250th celebration of our nation is coming up, and extremely looking forward to it. But I happen to think of, wouldn't it be cool if you could take this truck and somehow fly the American flag on it? I don't have any trailer hitch or any sort of natural way, if you will, of flying this, of flying on glory, but that is what we are going to do right now. We're going on a little side job, I guess, to fit or attach a way to be able to fly on glory. And so right now I'm going up to my dad's shop. He has just a small two-bay garage in our farm, traveling up a long driveway, just killing me. Gosh, I hate driving this truck up this driveway. First time I've ever done it. Hopefully the last time. But there is a welder here in the shop that cannot easily be taken down to the house, and so I thought, well, it's easier to come up here than it is to go down there. So that's what we'll do. We'll get pulled up here and get backed in. So here we are, got backed in, ready to get started. Now, what I've got in mind is I'm wanting something you may not conceive from your angle, but as I said, coming up here, there's no trailer hitch, and there's really no good way. I mean, these holes are covered up by these rails. There's really no good way to be able to fly the American flag for the big 250. Really the only other option I've got is just to make something of my own. So what I have in mind, I want to make something that just to attach to the frame, but it'll be bolted on. I'm not going to weld anything, or well, I'll have to weld several pieces together, but I'm not going to weld it to the truck. Sort of the idea that I've got in my head, I want to make it into two separate pieces. That way it's kind of more portable, it's less awkward to handle. And so we've really, all I need is just some square tubing, which I already have here, and some flat metal, which I've cut out. Yeah, right here. So this will be bolted on to the truck. And then what I have in mind is, I'll do it at this angle. It's square tubing coming down, and then your horizontal piece, your brace, coming out, and then a smaller square piece of tubing, like 1.5 inches outer diameter, that can slide into the horizontal, the bigger piece of square tubing, and that will have the flagpole actually attached to it, which will also be metal. It'll be pretty stout. Now I'm not going to hook a chain to it and pull it, which shouldn't ever have to pull this thing, but you know, Chevrolet guys will beg to differ, I guess. But anyhow, that's what I got in mind. I guess you can ride along, and you know, just because I've got an idea in my head doesn't mean that, you know, that's how it's going to go. I'm sure I'll probably make some improvisions on the way, but I'll start crawling under here and get started, I reckon. been a little while since I dealt with hot metal figures. Well, that is all the cutting done. And wouldn't you know it, the last piece that was cut. Oh, they did get my last name wrong though. Wyatt. My name is White, like the color. W-H-I-T-E. Cole White. Man, I thought that was going to be special at first. I thought that hit the truck for a second. Not a good idea. Well, it's getting pretty late. Gosh, I was hoping to have at least everything tacked up, but I got, no, I'll save that for tomorrow. I was going to say I got one more piece to cut, but I'll save that for tomorrow. That'll be the actual flagpole itself. We have some scrap pieces laying around outside and it's just solid round metal. It'll be, I don't know, half an inch thick or something. I know it's definitely not 3/4. I think it's half an inch thick, but it'll work pretty good. But I guess we'll put that off till tomorrow to get everything all tacked together and welded. And I'm excited to show y'all what I have in mind, and hopefully it works pretty good. But we're gonna call it quits for tonight. We got everything kind of pre-cut and ready to go tomorrow. I think it will come pretty quickly together. I'm so pumped for to be able to do this, just to have this opportunity to fly the flag and fly it proudly. Seems like not a lot of people are getting too awful excited about this, the 250, but we definitely have something to be proud of anyways. I want to go more in depth with that tomorrow. But anyhow, thank you guys for watching. Part 2 tomorrow. Well, here we are again, bright and early, up at almost 4 o'clock, if not 4. But it's just how the day went, I guess. Better than last night, that's for sure. Definitely getting started a lot earlier than we did yesterday. But good thing we got pretty much everything cut out. The 2 holes drilled, holes in the frame of the truck. Got all that done last night, and got the welder set up like it's supposed to be. So I guess really it's just tacking it down and seeing how it goes. So this will be the actual piece that sticks out from behind the bumper, and I guess kind of what I got in mind was having these 2 to stick down, weld to that should hold it, and then a flagpole would be attached to this piece and slide it into there, have a hole drilled to where you can pin it. That way it's kind of detachable, and that way if you're either putting it on or taking it off, it's not, you're having to handle the whole piece. You can kind of take it apart, and also might make it a little bit easier for storage. I don't know. It's gonna be like that because I want the letters. Not that it's gonna make much of a difference. I don't know if I'll paint the whole thing yet or not. Do I want to do it that way, or yeah, do it. Let's see. That way I can weld from the top. That's the cut end, so that's going to be. This will be coming out of the back. both of these ends have been cut, so I don't know if that matters so much. Oh, okay, that's a good one, yeah. So that should be, yeah. Yep. Okay. Yep. Okay. Now maybe I got it. Demi. Roop. Where's my ground? Get back here, you. Get on there. Yep. Trying to get away from me like that. Yep. I think that will work a lot better. I think. Only trouble with this though is that I'm afraid it's not going to be perfectly level. And then what am I going to do? I don't know what I'm going to do. Ow. Should have done this the last time. Switch from side to side. Instead of weld one side at a time. Now, here's kind of the test, I reckon. Well, I think I can make it work, which I might. It's bowed a little, and I might need to heat it up and bend it straight. I'm sure that would help. But I think I can make it work as it is. I mean, it's not perfect by any means, but you can make it work. Cool. Now, let's see how a washed up wannabe welder does. Well, it's not terrible. That I ain't too proud of. This is bringing back memories. That place I used to work at, they would, well, I guess their main business, they was building flatbeds for local dealerships around here, and really in western North Carolina. They might be some down east, but I see a lot of them kind of around here and around the Taylorsville area, and then further west up in Boone, Asheville, Blowing Rock, kind of that area. And but I didn't weld on any flatbeds or anything. They also built parts for logging equipment, and that was my job, was to tack. They had jigs set up, and you would kind of slide all the pieces together, tack it up, and then they would actually send it over to a robot that would weld it. You know, there was a guy there that would program it, and it was pretty cool to watch. But me and him ended up becoming best friends, and just makes me cherish those days. I don't know why I set that down. Like you're done welding. Idiot. Well, like I said, that ain't the worst, I guess. Let you guys get a close up, see what you think. Yeah, it definitely ain't the best looking, but as long as it holds it, I guess. That'll sit on there better than I thought. There's a little bit of a gap on this side, but I think it can be closed up. Just make sure that this is pretty close to even. Yeah, That's close enough. I think we're 16th or 8th off. I ain't gonna worry about it too awful much. Except, I do want to get it centered though. And we're live. I'll do the harder one first and get it over with. Come on, Nelly. Take hold. Funny story I just thought about. At that place I used to work, my boss, who ended up becoming one of, if not my best friend, I went to work one day. This was after school, after college, and you know, they had a humongous metal table, and you know, of course all my tools was metal: hammers, gosh, I don't know, files, you know, all the stuff that I needed, the parts of the jig, everything that I had, you know, had something that was metal on it. And while I was at school, he took the welder and welded every single one of my metal tools to the table. So I'd go to grab something and I'd have to get a grinder and, you know, cut the tack loose, and then he was tactful about it, no pun intended. He would tack it like out of sight to where it wasn't obvious, but everything I went to grab, it was stuck to that table. I hated working there, but memories like that I miss. Well, I believe that'll get it. Now we just gotta get the flagpole to this piece and weld it, and then drill a hole, put a pin through. Drilling the hole's gonna be the fun part. I might just do that first just to get it over with. Just gonna widen this hole out a little bit. Cause I ain't got a bigger drill bit than that. Pretty sure anyways. There's that. Now how that's gonna line up with, get that in there. First things first, this piece that the flagpole is going to be on is a 6-foot piece. I wanted 3 inches inside the tube and 3 inches sticking out. So. That's probably hard on them bits, but when you don't have a bigger size, as Kennedy said, ask not what your country can do for you, but rather what you can do for your country. So if I ruin a drill bit to be able to fly Old Glory, so be it. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. Yeah, sometimes when I think, man, it's hot. It'd be nice to have a fan right now. I just think about Marines over in the Pacific during the Second World War. Over 100-degree weather, high humidity, no water, and fighting. Tough men. Tough men. Don't make them like they used to, as they say. Could you imagine dying from heat exhaustion, from dehydration? I mean, just, we have so much to be thankful for, and yet so often we take it for granted. What's the dealio? Dadgummit. I should maybe just blow a hole out in them. That's probably what I ought to do. And I think that's what I'll do on that piece right there. Heck, I blew out holes for that flat piece. Huh. Oh my gosh. Felt sure that was big enough. By golly, that ain't big enough. Well, we've got our flagpole here. It's funny how that's magnetic. I don't know if y'all can see that. But should be plenty stout enough. The only concern I have is I think you've got to get it really hot when you're welding this stuff, because that's not hollow, that is solid all the way through. And that square tubing ain't that thick of a gauge, so I'm slightly concerned about that, but I guess there's only one way to find out. Well, I think that'll do it for that side. Well, I think that is as good as it's going to get. You know what? Let's really make a go at it. Make sure we got it sitting on the ground first. Well, I would say if that don't do it, then it ain't gonna go off. Just pulling the drag of the flag. Oh, glory. Everybody now, glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. Shoo, man, that's still hot from, man, when this was burning holes through that tube metal. Dang. Now, dang it, took a glove off. Knowing I was going to take that loose. Man. I can't remember if I've already said this or not, but she's going to be a 3x5 flag, so you gotta, accommodate for it. It'll be sticking up a few inches at least over the top of the truck, but 3 foot, I mean, you're talking right here maybe. So. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, she's sturdy. I just hope it ain't too one way or the other when we go to put it all together. Now, I guess just get a pin made. Just gonna bend it over one way. Yep, not as easy as I thought it would be. Dang. Dang. Yeah. Daggum, man. I'm gonna try to, figure something else out. Ah. Fell from the sky. Yeah. That'll work. I do declare. Yeah, so much easier. Yeah. Little bit of leverage. Pliers again. I should probably sing a different song. Like Toby Keith probably. He's always popular this time of year. God rest his soul. There I said Toby Keith, and I'm singing Battle Hymn of the Republic again. It's a catchy song. Probably my favorite patriotic song. If y'all couldn't tell by now. Stay. I'm glad this shop, if you want to call it that, has got a high ceiling. Stay. Hopefully when that pin gets in there, that'll make it sort of set level, not so cockeyed. Hopefully. about to say, if I could just grab a hold of it. Yeah, it's got a lot more play in it than I would like. Like I said, I don't know how you fix that. Well, it's just getting the length here that we need, cutting it off, and that'll pretty much be it, besides paint. Oh, I'll give it a little more. Whew! Gosh, what an idiot. Golly bum, what an idiot. I guess I thought, since I grabbed it down there, man, dipped hard. I think the handle, the handle is longer than the pin is. Ironically. I bet you I can't cut it like that, can I? It'll just move on me. Well, you know what? I'm dumb enough. We'll try it. Well, kids, that's why you use a vise. I did say I was dumb enough, didn't I? Glove. Yes, check. Pliers. Or channel locks. Channel locks. Channel locks. I put them up, didn't I? Good gosh. Sir. Oh, if Paul Revere could have had a 65 pickup with a Old Glory flying from it, he would have actually made his midnight ride. No problem. The British are coming. The British are coming. And Chevrolets, they're coming. A little warm. And that is still, how does that get warm? How does that handle get warm? All right. Definitely not grabbing it. Now, let's put everything together and just see how it looks. One more time. Everybody. There she be. Ah, there she be, ladies and gents. Well, now all that's left to do is slab a coat of good old paint in a can. I had to go to the store anyways to get some stuff, and I found this pen that would work for these holes. So I guess all that making a pen and getting your finger burnt like an idiot, done all that for nothing, but we got something that works. That's the main thing, I guess. And we'll just throw a coat of paint on there and let it be dry and get it wrapped up. That's gonna be just about enough, which I probably put too much on it, but all right. We will let that dry, and I think that'll be it. I don't think there's be a need for a second coating, I don't think, but we'll see. And then the fun part. All right, here's the big moment. Boing. Ah, man, don't do that. There we are. Oh boy. We got a pretty good little windstorm out there. It's acting like it wants to rain, but I doubt it will. Yeah. It's more bouncy than I would have liked it to be. Guess I better go tighten it up some more. I thought I had it pretty tight as it was, but still pretty bouncy. I really don't know what you do to fix it besides weld it. I don't think putting any more bolts on would help it. I don't think. I could be wrong. Maybe I might have to do that later, but I'm anxious to get her going. I won't have to put something in there to just to kind of scotch it, to keep it sort of halfway decent and level. Be careful here. Yep, that'll work. Sure enough. Man. Now, if this ain't the most American thing you've seen, old trucks and zip ties, then this might not be American. Come on. This is a 3x5. I don't know if I've already said that or not, but I believe she'll fly true. That will work, I believe. That will work. Might do a little bit of modification there to try to keep it from bouncing so much. Definitely got to do something to try to keep that from happening, but that's pretty much it, I think. Come on. I'm happy about that, ladies and gents. Sure enough. Take it out here and let her feel the wind. Yep, let her feel the wind. Well, some of y'all may be wondering, why even go into this much trouble as far as, man, that's the next thing after this is getting a bath. Old Red needs a bath. Part of it was from going up that driveway and got to go back down it now, but which and he or she, I don't know. I haven't really decided yet. was dirty before this project, but the reason I went through all this trouble to be able to do this is, well, for one, it's the 250. It is the big 250, and yeah, this is a once in a lifetime kind of thing. I'll be 76 at the 300th anniversary, so yeah, I'm not gonna have the capacity to be able to do something like this again on the 300th, anyways. But the second reason is, apart from messing with old trucks and into sort of that kind of hobby, well, I say trucks, this is the first and only one I have right now. I'd like to maybe get into some other stuff in the future, but right now this is all I got. But apart from this, I thoroughly enjoy studying history, and to prepare for this year for the 250, I got to studying our founding fathers, the American Revolution, and the more I got into it, the more I learned just how, and what I'm about to say here is controversial. Not even probably, it is controversial. And YouTube may even decide to demonetize this video, to do what they can to suppress it. The algorithm may not push it. I don't care. It's the truth, and it needs to be said, and I felt like it should be said. Our country is unique. It's exceptional. The average constitution for any nation throughout world history is, I've heard numbers anywhere from 14 to 19 years, so we can safely say under 20 years. And this August, or sorry, not this August, this year we're celebrating 250 years of independence. Now, the Constitution came later, on July 4th, 1776 wasn't when our Constitution was ratified, but directly after the American Revolution, we were under the Articles of Confederation, and then later the Constitution. But studying that time period and studying that history, I learned just how much God was in the founding of our nation, how direct His providence was throughout the throughout the war. There were countless examples where the weather played a part. Mistakes that shouldn't have been made were made to preserve the Continental Army. And I hear oftentimes that our founding fathers were atheist or deist at best, and from what I've seen, that's just simply not the case. A deist is someone who believes that God, whoever God is, he's kind of abstract, he's distant, and he's the great watchmaker. He sets the watch, he sets the time, and he sets it off to the side and never looks at it again, never even thinks about it. Well, Washington attributed God's providence to the victory over the British over 250 times. Now that's just Washington. That's not getting into John Hancock, Franklin, Jefferson, any name. That's just Washington over 250 times in all of his personal writings and letters that he attributes the founding of our nation to the providence of God Himself. And there's God in the Declaration, there's God in the Bill of Rights and in the Constitution. People say that God isn't in the Constitution. Well, there is. You just have to know what to look for. But learning that history has made me proud and grateful and patriotic again. There was a time in my life where I was a bit ashamed of what our nation was, and still ashamed to a certain extent today. We certainly have room for improvement, and our history is filled with flaws. Give me a nation that has not had any faults throughout its history. Were our founders perfect? No, they were not. They were men just like me and women. They were flawed human beings who were in need of a Savior, and I think to look back and to judge those people and to hold them to a perfect standard isn't feasible. It's not logical. Nobody should hold us to a perfect standard and expect us to live it out completely. Certainly, our founders had flaws, but they had characteristics that I strive for, that I look to, and I want to be there. I want to be like them. Their role models, quite frankly. Just their intellect, their vocabulary, their wit, their humility. Not all of them, but some of them. Some of them were quite humble. Washington, for example, and I'm probably going to mention Washington quite a bit because I look up to that man so much, but that man did not want power, yet power was given to him because Congress or the people knew that he could be trusted with that power because they knew that he wouldn't abuse it. Now you fast forward a few decades into the future, a guy named Napoleon Bonaparte over in France, and yes, he was a military genius, and yet Washington didn't always perform so well on the battlefield, but yet I regard Washington in a much higher standard than I do Bonaparte because of the character that Washington had. It's not always your achievements on the battlefield that give you the best reputation in history. Sometimes it's just a little thing, and courage is a muscle. I heard it put this way once: courage is a muscle that it must be worked in order to grow. And it's just like a bodybuilder. A bodybuilder doesn't start out with the heaviest weights. They start out small, and they work, and gradual, and until they can handle the big things. Well, courage is the same way. It's having good characteristics, telling the truth, being honorable, have good business dealings, having a good reputation by knowing to be a trustworthy person. It's these kind of things, speaking the truth, even when it's not popular. If you work courage into the small things, eventually you'll be able to handle the bigger things. Now, I know I'm kind of getting off a rabbit hole, but anyways, just to say the least, I mentioned God, and throughout our country, so many people want to get rid of God and take God out of our nation's history, but that's not, to remove God from our nation's history is not showing the full picture. It's an incomplete history, really. As I said, Washington attributed the victory over the British to God over 250 times. Franklin, one of the least religious out of the founding fathers, during the Constitutional Convention on June 28th, 1787, if I remember correctly, when the delegates were in a deadlock and the Articles of Confederation wasn't working, Franklin made the proposal to open up each delegation with prayer. And he said this, he said that the longer I live, and I'm paraphrasing here, the longer I live, the more I see the proof that God governs in the affairs of men. Now, if he's a deist, he's not a very good deist. Now, I wouldn't make the case that he's a Christian either, but was certainly influenced by Scripture. But anyways, first of all, I'm grateful to God for being born here, to have the blessing to live here, to live in a nation where I can be free. I thank Him for that privilege. I think our founders would too. So, with that being said, may God bless you. May God bless America. and happy 250.